Let's go, baby, yes, it's on my neck. Let's go. Let's go, baby, yes, it's on my mind. I got a brain. Sleeping on my couch, I'm climbing in Miami. Things on my shoulder, I'm running out like Haiti. Come on, baby, shit. Let's go, baby, yes, it's on my neck. I got a brain. I'm sleeping on the couch, I'm climbing in Miami. Things on my shoulder, I'm running out like Haiti. They gon' want that evil shit, yo, you better pay it. They gon' want that evil twin, like your baby. They don't like the safety without the safety, this shit crazy. Never without the safety, made a baby, she sleeps safely. I'm a hustler, baby, bitch, but out of my mind. She wanna break and I took it to Macy's. Bitch, I ain't stupid, I just pop a perky. I'm feeling great, Tony, don't play around trying to get on the songs. Been bonus legit like Bobby. White girls on my dick, good coffee. Find my check the nigga. She got what's money when it's dirty. Mic check, she's a big headed raw bitch. I'm a T-Bag bitch, but you could even show up to bitch. I look like her nigga deacon. I came back and said like him, that nigga be preaching. I swear to sex, we all got demons out. But this shit going above, just give me for that reason. I saw BBS is on my neck. I got a brain freeze. Yeah. From sleeping on the couch to an apartment in Miami. Things on my shoulder, I'm burning up like my ladies. They gon' know that evil shit, better pay. They gon' know that evil twin, yeah, I do baby. They don't like the safety without the safety, this shit crazy. Better without the safety, made a baby, she sleeps safely. I'm a hustle, baby, bitch better than my money, bitch better than my money, bitch better than my money. 120 HP. Yeah.
I think I'm back. I think I could be wrong, but I think I'm back. How's everyone doing right now? How y'all doing? This is Real Talk, Real People. As always, we have to keep it real. What you just heard by 120 HP Vsss. Link in the description. Link in the chat. Hope everyone's doing good. It's been a little minute. I can't lie. It's been a little minute. I've been indisposed like a mug, but I thought I would throw a little surprise out. Um, Constantly upgrading the sound is going to be so much better. It's going to be so much more. It's going to be great. So stand by. Gonna put my tags in, and then we're going to discuss quite a bit. So as the title entails, we're going to go over Murdah. We're going to go over some Murdah. We're not going to talk about the Siobhan case too much because what is there to say on that? But I came across a story about a young man, gentleman. I don't know what you want to call him. Apparently, he was defending himself in the court of law. Apparently, for killing a double murder suspect, defending himself, screams his opening statement. So we're gonna we're gonna go through that. It's not funny at all by any stretch of the imagination. We're gonna see what's up with that. We're gonna go ahead and look into a couple different things. Let's see here. More specifically, let me pull my notes up. We're gonna go into that and see how that goes. Because you know what they say, no one's gonna represent you better than yourself, not even a lawyer. We'll go into mental health. We're gonna answer a couple of subscriber submitted questions. Some you can see in the chat right now, or rather in the description. One being, what is um, critical race theory? Is critical race theory a new term to account for the subject as a whole, or has it existed for a while and we're just now starting to use it? Credit that to Twisty Q. That was his question. We had another question from Neek So Divine. And what is a rather interesting question? What does it mean to lead a woman into poverty? Um, so there's that. We'll go into what is qualified immunity as well as what is critical race theory itself. What's the big issue with it, if there is one? What does defund the police mean? And then, of course, just some user submitted questions. Don't want to get too heavy with it, but I think we can do a lot with this. And then, of course, anything else you guys want to talk about in the chat. So we will get on that. So definitely not trying to be funny, but while we do that, I'm going to go ahead and play a very appropriate song. And then we'll get into our first story.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm at the studio. Hold up, though. Ain't get to roll no weed. Ain't get to roll no swisher. I was locked up on Christmas. Ain't get to see my niggas. Ain't get to hug my mama. Couldn't even give her no kisses. Can't even post on my Instagram. Could these pussy niggas be snitching? Everybody acting suspicious. Might probably say that I'm tripping. When I'm all alone in my jail cell, I tend to get in my feelings. And all I smoke is that loud. Don't pass me no midget. And I'ma smoke all of my pain away. That's the only thing that gon' heal it. I don't understand these women who go around pretending as if they really fuck with me. So I love them all from a distance. Cause the same bitch said she down the ride. Be the main one who tricking. Got my niggas with promethazine. Cause every time I wake up in the morning, I got murder on my mind. AK-47s, Mac 11s, blocks and nines, and all these pussy niggas hating, trying to knock me off my grind. But I can't let them do it. I got murder on my mind, bitch. I got murder on my mind, bitch. I got murder on my mind. 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 Yellow tape around his body. That's a fucking homicide. His face is on the t-shirt and his family's traumatized. I didn't even mean to shoot him. He just caught me by surprise. I reloaded my pistol, cocked it back and shot him twice. His body dropped down to the floor. He had teardrops in his eyes. He grabbed me by my hands and said he was afraid to die. I told him it's too late, my friend, it's time to say goodbye. And he died inside my arms, blood all on my shirt. Wake up in the morning, I got murder on my mind. AK-47s, Mac 11s, blocks and nines, and all these pussy niggas hating, trying to knock me off my grind. But I can't let them do it, I got murder on my mind, bitch, I got murder on my mind. 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 Like what's your action? Bitch, I'm an enemy. Melly's a savage, no, he not no amateur. Faggots and ass, you fucked up on camera. Bitch, I'm a murderer. I might just kill him, but don't wanna kill him. But make him up, say he won't be for your girl, boy. I'm bleeding so good, I might get his ass in and spill the boy. Murder on my mind. Oh, I got murder on my mind. I got murder on my mind. I got murder on my mind. Wake up in the morning, I got murder on my mind. AK-47, Mac 11, blocks and nines, and all these pussy niggas hating, trying to knock me off my grind. But I can't let them do it. I got murder on my mind, bitch. I got murder on my mind. 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 On my mind. Oh, oh. Young in the world. Oh, oh.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Wow. Okay, cool. So, murder on your mind. Now, I wasn't trying to be funny, um, but this first one we're going through, murder, this is a story out of, it appears to be Louisiana. Uh, hold on. No, hold on. Shit. It's Tampa. The Tampa area. So, damn. Well, there goes Florida. All right. So we're about to go in here. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. You may get a hint of a few things we're going to talk about after that, but let's go ahead and share this. Of course, I don't own any of this music or anything that you're going to hear. Just want to make that clear. I don't own any of that. And fair use, fair use, fair use. And let's go ahead and make that big, make that big. Boom. Go ahead and make that big. There we go. All right. So we are about to go ahead and um, just listen. Now, just some background on the story. This is a Riverview man. He's on trial for a suspected double murder, and he's defending himself. Some people say this guy is stupid. I don't think he's stupid. If he adequately prepared, no one's going to make a better defense for you than you. Okay. I don't know what happened. I don't know much about the story. This is the first time I've heard about this. The first time we're about to hear, we're going to go through it. I'll stop it periodically, but I'll give my thoughts and we'll discuss it. Maybe I'll even bring people on. So this is about the Riverview man suspected of double murder. Screams open screams opening statement at the jury. I don't know why they do this. All right. Don't forget to share and like. Come on, let's get them up. And let me know if y'all hear this. Can you guys hear that? Can you guys? I need a sound check. Someone comment if you guys can hear that. I need a sound check. Sound check, please. Can I get a sound check? I do know there's like a delay on this. Let me go back. Can you guys hear this? This man's fighting for his fucking life. All right, I'm gonna assume that you guys can hear it.
Actually, I know how I can do it. Let me see if y'all can hear it. I'm gonna sound check it myself. Y'all are not helping.
All right, let me play it back.
I apologize for the audio. We're just gonna play it like this. Evidence is going to show that we are under some of the most vicious, fabricating, fictitious government you ever seen. By the time it's all said and done, you will see who is the mass murderer in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida. You will know why what occurred on March 18, 2018 occurred. And the evidence is going to show that law enforcement tampered with evidence to meet their such high burden of proof. Oh, snap. Because originally, it wasn't enough. So we had to tamper with evidence. Since it was such evident already, but we still have to tamper with evidence. The evidence is going to show my son did not see me murder his mom. The evidence is going to show he did not see me shoot his mom. The evidence is going to show my son said many things that are not true. The evidence is going to show that I called 911 during Kenyatta Barron's 911 call. But all of a sudden, it ends up after I called Kenyatta, after Kenyatta Barron's call was made. Now I'm calling 911. But originally, I called 911 without even knowing she called 911 during her call. But the evidence is going to show that your representatives and law enforcement, local law enforcement, wanted to make it seem like I'm some kind of menace to society. And I ran after killing Kenyatta Barron, knowing that authority was on the way to kill my own children. I wonder why I would do something like that for no reason. And I'm standing here competent as can be, representing myself today. The evidence is going to show my son did not witness me viciously beat his mom to death. The evidence is going to show my neighbor, Khalil Brown, whom they are trying to keep out of this trial, witnessed me take 3 strikes. The evidence is going to show that law enforcement and this administration wanted to make me look like a menace to society. So they added several mini strikes on that video and audio that you just heard. And they added several statements that I did not say. Anything that I may have said, they exacerbated it and made me say it consecutively over and over like Allahu Akbar, which I may have said once or twice. But they wanted to make me seem like a terrorist. And so you hear it 8 or 9 times, and you hear me calling Kenyatta Barron a bitch and a whore. The evidence is going to show it. That I called my dad after calling 911.
This is kind of sad, man.
But that call is all of a sudden missing from the T-Mobile records that we have acquired from T-Mobile. The 911 call that I made to 911 and the 911 call that you just heard cannot be proven that it was made, because after I called for an investigation of those 911 calls, all of a sudden they become missing from all evidence.
Okay.
The evidence is going to show Kenyatta Barron supposedly made a 911 call, but you cannot find that on her call log, which we pulled from her actual phone.
Okay, brother. Okay.
They say she made a call at 11:43.
Defend yourself. Okay.
There's no 911 call at 11:43 on her call log.
Okay.
All of a sudden, after I called for an investigation of the original call, that's what the evidence is going to show. The evidence is going to show I look alone, but I am backed by mighty God.
Okay.
The evidence is going to show I love my children. And the evidence is going to prove to you that this whole entire case has been tampered with and fabricated before it's all said and done.
Let's see, brother. Okay.
I can guarantee you that.
All right, bro.
Mark my words. The evidence is going to show that they say, I said, come out here, son, and help me kill this bitch. But my neighbor, Khalil Brown, nor my neighbor, Mona Lisa Brothers Gray, or any of her children, Mia Thompson, or Gracie Diggs, or Mr. Gray, heard me say any of those things. In fact, the evidence is going to show that Khalil Brown heard me say she killed me twice and then nothing else. The CRA is going to show, for some of you who don't know what that is, that's the criminal report affidavit that the law enforcement lead detective Thomas Dirks is the author of. The evidence will show that in that CRA, I told the neighbor, don't come outside, call 911 now. But you don't hear that on this audio for some reason. But you hear all these other things that I did not say. That same CRA will have the statements of Khalil Brown saying that he saw me take 3 strikes with that shotgun and nothing else. The evidence is going to show
He's doing
that
pretty
Mr.
good.
Harmon here said that that big chunk missing out of her arm was a bird shot. It was not a bird shot. And whatever kind of shot it was, if it was a slug shot or a bird shot, where's the missing pieces of her arm? The evidence is going to show you will not see any missing pieces of her arm in that closet where she was shot. You should see some evidence of.
Come on, what's going on? Hold up. What's going on?
Shots,
They
but
tripping.
there were several shots added to the wall to make it look like I was aimed at her head. That's what the evidence is going to show.
He's doing pretty good. He's doing pretty good. Don't let the hair fool you. Looks like he's prepared for this. It's a pretty good opening statement.
Remember I told you the evidence will not show you that my son witnessed me beat his mom to death, nor did he witness me shoot his mom. In fact, he didn't witness much at all. And the evidence will show that my son said my dad shot my mom is the correct statement. If you want to cite statements, if he even said it. Because I guarantee you, the evidence is going to show you we are under the most corrupt administration you've ever seen in your life. I guarantee you, I wouldn't waste your time. I would have already took a plea deal of some kind if I knew I did something like this.
Okay.
Because most people don't even go to trial and they know they killed somebody unjustly. The evidence is going to show you who the killers are.
Yeah, most people don't. They'll take the plea. Because they don't want the book thrown at them. This is my woman's face. They're wrong for that. They're really wrong.
Not guilty to the charges of premeditated murder, attempted murder, aggravated child abuse or battery, arson, resisting arrest without violence. And while I'm at that, the evidence is going to show that they tased me for no reason. But they tampered with that video because they didn't want you to know the truth. It might sound far-fetched, but I guarantee you, we're going to see who the liars are before it's all said and done. Mark my words, because my family lives were taken. When my daughter was done, this is what the evidence will show. When my daughter was born, it was me who gave the command and fired the final command to keep her alive when she was on life support. When she was born, 2 pounds, 2 ounces, and couldn't breathe on her own, it was me who fought to keep her alive. But all of a sudden, I just want to take her life for no reason.
The plot.
I'm asserting justifiable homicide because I acted in self-defense and moved to protect myself and my children from Kenyatta Barron. I'm going to be showing with evidence premeditatedly kill anyone because I didn't have any time to reflect or plot and plan as if everything happened suddenly and spontaneously. I responded out of pure instinct and heat of passion. Eliminating any kind of premeditated design. And let me just say, the evidence will show that since the state plans to kill me, if they can say that I killed my family unjustly, they plan to premeditatedly kill me. So they cannot say or deny me the right to premeditatedly kill Kenyatta Barron if she killed my children. The evidence will show that Kenyatta Barron had several medications and drugs such as morphine in her system. The evidence will show she had a domestic history and was arrested for domestic violence that same year. She also was born premature, just like Ranivia.
I'm going to sustain the objection as to that particular argument regarding Ms. Barron being born prematurely. All right? You may continue on, Mr. O'Neill.
Yeah, that's relevant. That's relevant.
I didn't even state the basis of this objection.
I ruled, Mr. O'Neill, okay?
I understand, but I have to state the basis of my objection, right?
Well, that is correct, and I just assume what the objection is. Go ahead, state it for the record, Mr. Harmon. It's sustained.
The evidence will show that she threatened to kill me with a knife just a few weeks before the incident, and she was angry about my relationship with my other child's mom.
Oh my God, baby mama shit.
And about the fact that we had to be portable for our newborn son.
Man, why does it always have to come to that?
The evidence will show that they have been going back and forth and arguing on Facebook and by telephone that whole afternoon before the incident. The evidence will show that me and my son was at my mom's house while I was putting brakes on my aunt's car. Me and my son spent the whole day at my mom and dad's house working on the car. When we came back home, I never knew she was arguing with my child's mom, my other child's mom, the whole day. That's what the evidence will show. Evidence will show that my daughter was prematurely born. She was autistic. My son Ronnie was diagnosed at the age of 3 with developmental delay and had the history of SLD. The evidence will also show that he was present, but does not remember accurately or consistently what happened for many reasons, making him unreliable when it comes to the actual facts. He also has been diagnosed with PTSD as he should be, because this is a very traumatic thing that he went through.
This is a tough situation.
He also was diagnosed with major depression disorder, intermittent confusion, and delirium. The evidence is going to show, the evidence and testimony will show that Ronnie Blair, formerly known as Ronnie O'Neal IV, may have been coached on what to say by family members and or law.
Hold on. I will overrule the objection.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. O'Neal, again, jury, this is what both sides believe the evidence is going to show. All right, and again, you will be the ultimate determiner of what the facts are. You may proceed, Mr. O'Neal.
Thank you, Your Honor. And these are also actual facts that Mr. Harmon got when he told you about the report of his former psychologist. When he told you that he was adopted.
When the lawyer's trying to object in the opening statement,
And he had to be placed with another family.
that brother's doing all right.
Their family. In that same report, it talked about how he may have been coached by family members. The evidence is going to show that my son was adopted by a detective who formerly worked in this case. Whom he now lives with. And I don't have a problem with that because he needs care. But I do have a problem with Mr. Blair being involved in this case, being called as a witness, being the new father of my son, and now he's being called as a witness when he could possibly have been coached by his new father, who is law enforcement.
All right, and again, Mr. O'Neal, overrule the objection. Again, this is what Mr. O'Neal is asserting the facts will be. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Man, this shit crazy.
The evidence will show and prove that very vital evidence was definitely tampered with, which was a strategic omission to cover up the facts of this case, making much more of the evidence unreliable. As I know for a fact, it was altered as well. The evidence is going to show that the 911 call of Kenyatta Barron is not compatible with what Khalil Brown saw
Oh my
and heard
God.
outside
Oh my God, yo.
of my home. The evidence is going to show, when it's all said and done, who put those excessive lacerations on Kenyatta Barron's face. I can guarantee you that. In this trial of the next one, I can guarantee you that. Because like I said, I look alone, but I'm backed by mighty God.
Oh my goodness. We're gonna stop it there. We're gonna stop it there. This shit crazy.
Ultimately, it will show
Now, y'all heard all of that. That was his opening statement. Somewhat compelling. I give him points for trying. But that was June 14th. Everyone. Yeah, let me go ahead and we're going to see exactly how that turned out. All right. So, yeah, that was that. So, that's what he said. Now let's look at this article. Fucked up. So this is the same gentleman. Disregard that. 22.5 years. Probably get 15 for parole. All right. Florida man guilty of killing girlfriend, disabled daughter. Double murder defendant in Florida who represents himself, has been convicted of 2 counts of first-degree murder. So you guys heard that opening statement. Passionate, indicating that the state is trying to find a case against him. That was on the 14th of June. Murder happened in 2018. Double murder. As of June 21st. So June 21st was Monday. As of Monday. I'll read it. Tampa, Florida. A double murder defendant acting on his own attorney in Florida was convicted of 2 counts of first-degree murder Monday evening, several hours after shouting at jurors and prosecutors and acknowledging he killed his then-girlfriend. The Hillsborough County jury reached the verdict of Ronnie O'Neill III after 4.5 hours of deliberation. The 12-member panel also found him guilty of attempted first-degree murder and arson. Jurors will reconvene later this week to recommend life in prison or the death penalty. Under Florida law, the decision for execution has to be unanimous. O'Neill admitted during the closing arguments early Monday that he killed Kenyatta Barron, but denied charges that he killed his disabled daughter and tried to kill his son. I want you to know the actual facts, he told jurors. Then turning to prosecutor, he said, I did kill Kenyatta Brown, but I want you to tell it like it is if you're going to tell it. Damn, bro. We just listened to 30 minutes of him saying that the facts are going to show he didn't kill Kenyatta Brown. And then he admits it. O'Neill, 32, acted as his own lawyer throughout the trial. During the closing argument, Hillsborough Circuit Judge Michelle Cisco intervened and warned him to stop using profanities. Defendant spent most of his time Monday accusing the state of manipulating call log and recordings for the night of March 2018 killings. State prosecutor called the claims absurd. O'Neill, who early in the trial cross-examined the sheriff's detective before hardly thanking him for adopting his son, on Monday stridently criticized the move, suggesting it was prejudiced his son against him. You are ready to believe my son, whose statements are conflicting all of a sudden because he has been adopted by a detective who worked in this case. He said in the jury he had no business being around him in an open and pending case. The detective testified he worked the night of the attack, but was not involved in the investigation. Prosecutor says O'Neill wounded Barron with a shotgun, then beat her to death. They say he used a hatchet to kill his 9-year-old daughter and wounded his son, then ate with a knife. The daughter had cerebral palsy and could not speak. Oh my goodness. O'Neill is accused of setting the family's Tampa area house on fire. The son survived and testified last week by remote video that he saw his father kill his sister with a hatchet and recalled his mother being shot. When questioned by O'Neill, the boy told his father, "You stabbed me." The prosecutor, Ronald Gale, said during the closing argument that the state had proved beyond a reasonable doubt that O'Neill was guilty of the double murder and attempted murder. Gale played a 911 call that included screams from Barron. This has been a very emotional case, and the evidence and testimony has been by turns gruesome and disturbing and just heartbreaking. Asking the jury to put those emotions aside and deliberate on the facts. Wow. Okay. That's a hell of a story. So yeah, I mean, wow. Okay. I don't even know what to say about all that. God rest the soul of his little daughter and his baby mama and that little boy. How could you look at your son and try to kill your son? You killed your baby mama and your daughter, and you try to kill your son, and then cross-examine your son, and your son says, "You stabbed me." Florida, man. Okay, let's go. I didn't think that was going to be like that. Okay. The next thing is critical race theory. So let's look at a couple different sources. Critical race theory has been a very polarizing topic. Let's look at Purdue. Okay, so critical race theory. Let's go ahead and read this. So before anything else, let me explain. There's been a issue with, for some people, feeling that critical race theory is going to rewrite history. Something or rewrite history to more accurately determine and kind of voice what really happened and examine all the different things that transpired between the racist and prejudiced nature of the United States and its history and its involvement. There are a lot of people that want this. There are a lot of people that don't, because it shines a very, very negative light on, understandably and probably so, the people that descended from these people, as well as people that benefit from the moniker of being white, as well as others, non-whites, that have benefited from the racial infrastructure of the United States and racism and so on and so forth. So critical race theory, let's look at the Purdue definition. Excuse me. And I think I can actually, let me do this. This will sound a lot clearer.
There we go. I think that's a lot better. Okay. So critical race theory, or CRT, is a theoretical and interpretive mode that examines the appearance of race or racism. Let's make that bigger. Race or racism across dominant cultural modes of expression. In adopting this approach, CRT scholars attempt to understand how victims of systematic racism are affected by cultural perceptions of race and how they are able to represent themselves to counter prejudice. So, reading that alone, let's read that again. Critical race theory is a theoretical and interpretive mode that examines the appearance of race and racism across dominant cultural modes of expression. In adopting this approach, CRT schools scholars attempt to understand how victims of systematic racism are affected by cultural perceptions of race and how they are able to represent themselves to counter prejudice. So, just going off of that face value, how could one be against critical race theory? You know what? That's a good question. How can one be against examining how racism interwoven within the systematic racism affects people, black people, let's be real, and those that experience racism? And again, create strategies to counter prejudice and the perception of race. How could you have a problem with that? Let's continue. Closely connected to such fields as philosophy, history, and sociology, and law, CRT scholarship traces racism in America through the nation's legacy of slavery, civil rights movement, and recent events. In doing so, it draws from work by writers like Sojourner Truth, Frederick Douglass, W.E. Du Bois, Martin Luther King Jr., and others studying law, feminism, and post structuralism. CRT developed into current form during mid 1970s with scholars like Derek Bell, Alan Freeman, and Richard Delgado, who responded to what they identified as dangerously slow progress following civil rights of 1960. It kind of did come to a standstill, didn't it? Prominent CRT scholars like Kimberly Crenshaw, Mari Matsuda, and Patricia Williams share an interest in recognizing racism as a quotidian component of American life, manifested in textual sources like literature, film, law, and etc. In doing so, they attempt to confront the beliefs and practices that enable racism to persist, while also challenging these practices in order to seek liberation from the systematic racism. As such, CRT scholarships also emphasize the importance of finding a way for diverse individuals to share their experience. However, CRT scholars do not only locate an individual's identity and experience of the world in his or her racial identifications, but also their membership to specific class, gender, nation, and sexual. Of course, consider the following equals let's be real. There you go. Thank you, Twisted. But also their membership to specific class, gender, nation, sexual orientation. They read these diverse cultural texts as proof of institutionalized inequalities, racialized groups, and individual experience every day. Now, I'm going to add a different level to this that has not been written. No one's talked about this. Of course, I'm going to give you guys I'm going to give you guys something special. This has only ever been done in my video. I've not seen it done anywhere else. Now, remember one of the questions that was in the video details here, and the question is by Twisted Q, so aptly put. Is critical race theory a new term to account for this subject as a whole, or has it existed a while and just now started using it? So, per what we just read here, critical race theory developed into its current form during the mid 1970s, with scholars like Derek Bell, Alan Freeman, and Richard Delgado, who responded to the slow, incremental civil rights updates. So that's the answer to your question. It has been around for a while, but it has not been looked at. It has not been examined widespread. However, I'm going to counter that. I'm going to counter that a little bit. Okay. How am I going to counter that? No one else is. I'm telling you, no one else has brought this up. I'm proud to say I'm about to do this. Give me one moment. Let me. Let's look at something and see if these two things are similar. Give me a moment. Let me go to my library on my. Let me go to my library. Where is that? My personal library. Okay. Maybe it's my other library. It's probably my other library. Yeah, where's my other library? Let's go. There we go. Y'all gonna love this. Y'all ain't gonna believe this. I've got 2 separate libraries. Let me go here. And wow, 50 years later, the term becomes relevant. Bruh, that's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you. Hold on, let's go to, I think it's in Drive, maybe. Let's go to Drive. Can't show y'all everything on my Drive, but I'm gonna go to my library. Maybe I'll do a flat Earth show and show y'all what the Earth really looks like one day. All right, I think I can show this. Let me turn my screen back on. Okay, so this is like my online library. Got tons of stuff. Now, what am I looking for? I'm looking for, where is it? Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. Hold on. Can I search? I don't know if I don't know if I can search. Hold on. I'm sure I'll see it. Tons of good books. Tons of good books here. Miseducation of the Negro. Got to read that. Modern Sex Magic. Don't do it. Numerology. Don't do it. Secrets of Voodoo. Probably shouldn't do it. Stokely Carmichael. Quran Stories. The American Negro. Revolution. Here we go. The ISIS Papers. My channel, fun fact, my channel got, my last channel, the channel where I had over like 200 subscribers. Damn, yeah, I had over like, shit, my last channel, I was popping, had over like 300 subscribers. That got deleted due to this book because I was reading it chapter by chapter like a bedtime story. But I want you guys to see something and how interesting and how similar critical race theory is to a lot of these other things. So let's take a look here. God bless Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, a quite excellent and wonderful sister, very intelligent. Shout out to her. Let's see here. Maybe she explains it in the preface. Okay. I'm looking for it. Introduction. Okay, so let's start here. Let's just read the introduction. Now, I'm going to read this just so you guys have reference again. Let's go here. So, critical race theory is a theoretical and imperative mode that examines the appearance of race, racism across dominant cultural modes of expression and adopting the approach. CRT scholars attempt to understand how victims of systematic racism are affected by cultural perceptions of race and how they're able to represent themselves to counter prejudice. And again, CRT developed into its current form during the mid-1970s with scholars like Derek Bell, Alan Freeman, and Richard Delgado discussing the slow progress of the 1960s. Remember that time frame. And we're going to read here. Let me make it bigger. Can I make it bigger? Yeah. We show receipts over here. Okay. Where's it? Okay. So, the ISIS Papers, the Keys to the Colors, is a collection. Hold on. is a collection. Go away. You go away in a moment. Is a collection of essays I've written over the past 18 years to the following presentation and publication of my first works: The Crest Theory of Color, Confrontation, and Racism, White Supremacy. That first paper was a theoretical statement of psychogenetic theory and world outlook of the origin and meaning of the global white supremacy system. The theory summarizes and clarifies our experience as Black, non-white people on a planet presently dominated by people who classify themselves as white and who are a minority of the world's peoples. The Crest theory was based upon an insightful work of Neely Fuller Jr., author of the United Independent Compensatory Code System and Concept textbook and workbook for thought, speech, and action of victims of racism, white supremacy. Fuller, the founder of the racism and counter-racism concept, was the very first victim of racism to understand it was a global system of organized behavior, thought, speech, and action for white supremacy domination in all areas of people activity: economics, education, entertainment, labor law, politics, religion, sex, and war. In other words, he recognized that all activity and behavior encompassed by a white supremacy system had and has its origin in the dynamics of racism. Additionally, Fuller understood that racism contained the seeds and origin of counter-racism, the behavior dynamic of liberation for the non-white victims of white supremacy. His work led to me to question the necessity of global white collective to evolve such a system of unjust behavior. The result was the Crest theory of color confrontation, racism, and white supremacy. Crest is my maiden name. What a woman. This thesis provided me with a unified field theory approach and understanding in the Einsteinian sense to all behavioral phenomena manifested with high frequency in the local global system of racism. And let's go into this. The great physicist Albert Einstein, The Meaning of Relativity, 1922, had the following say about the unified field. The object of all science, whether natural science or psychology, is to coordinate or experience and bring them into a logical system. Excuse me. The only justification for our concepts and the system of concept is that they serve to represent the complex of our experiences. Beyond this, they have no legitimacy. All right, so this is where the meat comes in. Now, remember what they said. Mid 1970s, Derek Bell, Alan Freeman, Richard Delgado. What did she just say to you? She's been studying this for this book. Hold on, we'll get back to page 10. August 1989, right? August 1989. So just look at this, right? She's been studying this for just as long, actually longer. She says she's been studying this for 18 years. 18 years? I mean, let's do the math here, baby. Let's do the math. Since 71, she's been studying this. You had Alan Bell. Sorry, what are the names again? Derek Bell, Alan Freeman, and Richard Delgado, quote unquote, developed its current form during mid 1970s. So I don't see anywhere where Dr. Francis Cress Welsing or Neely Fuller, do you see their names anywhere here? Let's see how similar this is with that. let's just see. Let's see. You see, if you didn't read this book, you wouldn't know this. You wouldn't know this. This is game. I'm putting you on some game. Okay. The Crest theory permitted me to see, and remember, this was created when she wrote her first work, the Crest unified theory, right? Which was before all of before Alan Bell, Alan Freeman, Derek Bell, and all of them, Delgado. The Crest theory permitted me to see and understand many forms of activity on part of white and their non-white victims that have been either ignored or taken for granted. These behaviors, which can be viewed as symbolic of a fundamental objective of white genetic survival are found in the social reflection of the white supremacy power system, the white supremacy culture. Together, the system and the culture of white supremacy produce the phenomenon as racism. Thus, throughout this book, the terms system and culture in the reference are interchangeable. The deep investigation understanding is essential if Black and other non Black peoples are to succeed in playing the Black side of the chessboard, defense, offense, in contrast to the white side, offense, defense in the planetary game of white supremacy being played out between white and non-white. Currently, the players on the black side of the chessboard are in a continuous state of checkmate, a losing streak that is centuries long. This has happened because of our failure to understand the game. Heretofore, non-white people have not decoded white genetic survival. After presenting the Crest theory, my brain computer was flooded with new understanding specifically related to the global white supremacy system. Many things that I, as most people, viewed as commonplace and began to see in a different light. It was through an enormous window was opened in a room that had been without sunlight. I recognized many of the items I saw anew as symbols in the white supremacy system, perhaps because I am general and child psychiatrist with considerable experience in interpreting symbolic play of children and the symbols of the dreams of children and adults. I was sensitive to the symbols and behavior system of white supremacy once it had been defined and decoded. The symbols are usually visual entities that take form of speech or can be found in activities such as games. Symbols are specific to people and their experiences and their evolved cultures and circumstances. As such, symbols are entities that carry highly compacted messages pertaining to the origin, identity, and survival of the individuals and collective people. The form of visual entities, pattern, and speech or activity symbols contain complex messages distilled from the conscious level of brain computer. These messages have been reduced to their essence in the subconscious function. Their highly coded messages are stored and continuously referred to for existence and survival. Once a symbol evolves into a person's subconscious, that person uses a symbol with high frequency, has little or no necessary conscious understanding of its meaning. The shared symbol speaks volumes through a contained and relatively small visual auditory package. A symbol speaks loudly or even shouts in the meaning without uttering a sound. Symbols communicate from one person's subconscious to a subconscious of another who shares the same identity and survival necessity. Such communication transpires at subconscious levels where the conscious levels of brain computer functioning cannot bear to address certain issues. Aha! White supremacy is a topic that few can dare to discuss in the depth of conscious level of brain computer functioning. Few dare to probe or research white supremacy as this could lead to a dismantling of the system. Mm. Therefore, it is not surprising there are many symbols in the system of white supremacy that reveal its roots in the struggle for white genetic survival. Aha! 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 In the white supremacy system, often referred to as Western culture or civilization, there's little conscious focusing on symbols, their formation, use, interpretation. To the contrary, non white peoples in their original culture tend to focus on symbols and dream interpretation as essential aspects of life, i.e., African culture objects, referred to as African art, Egyptian art, biblical stories. Therefore, as an African, it is difficult for me to explain the ability to see and understand symbols. However, I am aware of making a shift to a lower frequency of brain computing functioning, away from the frequency required to ordinary day-to-day conscious functioning, in order to see and interpret symbols. But I must repeat that my ability to explain a process of symbol interpretation is derived from ongoing search for a firm understanding of the overall context of white supremacy in the culture. I know that's a lot. I know it's a lot. I know it's a lot. I know I kind of went in. Let's look at what she's saying. I'll read it again. Critical race theory is a theoretical or interpretive model that examines the appearance of race and racism across dominant cultural modes of expression. In adopting this approach, CRT scholars attempt to understand how victims of systematic racism are affected by cultural perceptions of race and how they're able to represent themselves to counter prejudice. Closely connected to such fields as philosophy, history, sociology, and law, scholars trace racism in America through nations, legal legacy of slavery, civil rights movement, recent events. In doing so, drawing from works of Sojourner Truth, Frederick Douglass, W. E. Du Bois, Martin Luther King, others studying law, feminism, post-constructionalism. developed into its current form formed during 1970s with scholars like Derek Bell, Alan Freeman, and Richard Delgado. Where the fuck is Neely Fuller addressed in CRT? Where the fuck, sorry, their ancestors. Where the heck is Neely Fuller Jr. expressed? And where's Dr. Frances Cress Welsing? Per the book that came out in 1989, I believe it was published in 1989, she said before she published this book, she had been researching for 18 years. That's 1971 at the earliest. Why is she not, based on everything you just heard in the Frances Cress, the Cress theory, and Neely Fuller's theory, with off of the back or the thinking of the compensatory code? Why is the compensatory code of color confrontation, um, no, why is the Crest theory of color confrontation and racism and white supremacy, why is that not being referenced? Why is the United Independent Compensatory Code of System and Concept not referenced? Why are these people not? These people did the work. These people did it before all those other people. Delgado, Freeman, Bell. Why are there? Let me tell you, this book is so deep. This explains white people. I'm telling you, this book explains white people. I'm telling you, my whole channel went down me reading this book. This book is legit. These findings are legit. I'm telling you, this is the book. If CRT was based off of these two works, if even if it had a portion of the stuff that's in this book or in Dr. Neely Fuller Jr.'s book, I could get behind it 100% because it's really getting in the root. Now, what is CRT? CRT could be a Trojan horse to rewrite history. Because look at this. Drawing from works of writers like Sojourner Truth, Ain't I a Woman, Frederick Douglass, W.E.B. Du Bois, Martin Luther King, all the safe Negroes, so to speak, the approved Negroes. You heard about all those people in school, right? You heard about all those people. That's who they taught you about Black history in school. Where's Malcolm? Where's Elijah Muhammad? Stokely Carmichael. Stokely Carmichael. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, Neely Fuller, James Small. Where are all those people? Huh? Where's I don't see Dr. Claude Anderson in this. Where's Dr. Claude Anderson? I don't I see what they're trying to do, and I know what people are saying. What could be wrong with this? What could be wrong with trying to create a system to teach children how to critically understand racism and its effects? But here's the issue, and I hate to be that dude because this is a good thing, but they got to put the right people in place. I need to see teachings from Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, Neely Fuller Jr., and other scholars. I need to see that in this in order for me to jump on board. Because here's the issue. Critical race theory is a theoretical interpretive mode that examines appearance of race and racism across dominant culture's mode of expression. That's fine. In adopting this approach, CRT scholars attempt to understand how victims of systematic racism are affected by cultural perceptions of race and how they're able to represent and counter. Nothing wrong with that. But per Dr. Frances Cress Welsing's book, The ISIS Papers, you need to look at the psychology of white folks. See, I've never heard anyone talk about that. Critical race theory is going to hit on that. Let's see how deep they hit on it, because you do need to give the kids the truth. You can't be giving them this whitewashed history. You got to give them the truth. But what I don't want to see is come 20, 30 years from now, when I have children, well, I have children before then, or I have grandchildren or whatever, I don't want my grandchildren ever come home or my children come home saying, "Hey, what'd you learn about school?" "Oh, we learned about slavery." Oh, okay. What'd you learn about slavery?" "Well, I found out that we weren't actually slaves. Our people weren't actually slaves. They were indentured servants." What the fuck? What you don't ever want to. That's how the kids are the future. So you got to tell them what's good. I need critical race theory in schools to be taught by black scholars. You can even teach even you can even teach they got to be black, and they not only be black, they got to know the sources. I'm fine what you doing, Frederick Douglass, W.E.B. Du Bois, Martin Luther King, shit, fucking Marcus Garvey, you can throw that in there, but I need to see Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, Neely Fuller Jr. I need to see the heavy hitters to let me know you guys understand. That's who my children need to grow up understanding. You need to understand the psychology of these folks and the dominant white supremacy society. Let's hear. I mean, you got to. I think this should be mandatory reading. The ISIS papers. I think it should be mandatory. You got to understand how these people think, how symbols work, symbology. Examples like, look, y'all gonna make me. I'm gonna have to put this on Patreon. I'm gonna have to read this book again on Patreon. Look at these chapter titles. This gonna knock your socks off. Look at this. Sorry, I'm getting passionate because if you read, you know better. A lot of people don't read. A lot of people don't know. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, okay, here we go. Look at these chapter names. This breaks down the theory. First chapter: origin of alienation, anxiety, and narcissism. Unified field theory, psychiatry. Learning to look at symbols and decipher symbols. Everybody, children should learn how to do that. Symbols of Christ, cross, the crucifixion, communion, and Christian holidays. Politics behind black male passivity, effeminization, bisexuality, and homosexuality. Oh, shit. See, you know they're not going to put her in here because this goes against the agenda. Because this tells you right here, this is the play. People be acting like, oh, there's no homosexual agenda. Oh, black men, blah, blah, blah. Nah, this book was written in 1989, and it's been researched for over 18 years prior to that, and even before that. She breaks down the whole black male passivity and feminization, bisexuality, homosexuality agenda. She breaks it down. This chapter 6. Freud was really talking about the concept of penis envy. Goes into that. Guns and symbolism. The motherfucker and the original motherfucker. Ball games and symbols. Symbolism of smoking objects. Black fear and failure of black analytical ideological commitment. Concepts of color of God and black mental health. Symbolism and meaning of rape. Symbolism of logic and meaning of justifiable homicide. Paper money and gold as symbols. Symbols of boxing and black leather. Crest theory of the Holocaust, neurochemical basis for evil, black children in process of inferiorization, racism and black child and youth inferiorization, black child parents, new factor of the black genocide, the crisis of black male and black female relationships. Is it a false problem? Black women moving towards the 21st century, white supremacy system, white supremacy mindset, AIDS Holocaust. These are things that are present. You guys can read this book and be like, damn, this shit is going on today. That's a damn shame when you can read a book from over 60, 70 years ago, the shit's still relevant. You can read a book from over 100 years ago, it's still relevant. And people want to say things have changed. Sorry, I'm going on a tangent. I need to get my copy back of this book because I need to finish reading it. I lent it to a friend. Yeah. So when I look at critical race theory, it's got to have elements of this. I can't have it be half baked. This is a good step, but it needs to go farther, and we need to make sure there's safeguards in place so they're not rewriting history and trying to rewrite history in a benign way. You know what I'm saying? One day you wake up and blacks are indentured servants and they're not slaves, or blacks or this or this, and trying to water down what really happened. Now, I know that sounds a bit protectionist, but it have to be. I'm not siding with the conservatives or Republicans on this because they just pretty much don't want all this shit to come to bear. Oh, don't worry about that. I mean, they're looking like they're going to be targeted, and rightfully so. It's not a pretty until now we haven't really delved into how all these things and these systems came to be. Examining those again, what did she say? If you examine white supremacy and get to the root of it and understand it, that's how you dismantle it. If you keep trying to look at it and go to it from oh, well, let's look at the victims. Yes, look at the victims, but let's not forget the people that perpetuate it and perpetuate the system and benefit from the system. We got to look at the mindset, how we got here. You can't look at one side and let the other side, you just can't leave it unanalyzed. Hold on. Maybe I went too hard. Hold on. Maybe I went too hard. CRT has contributed to splinter groups focused on Asian American, Latino, Indian racial experiences. Common questions. What is the significance of race in contemporary America? Where and in what ways and what ends does race appear dominant in American culture and shape the way we interact with one another? What types of texts or other cultural artifacts reflect dominant culture's perception of race? What did she say? The symbols. What did she say? All this stuff is, bruh, critical race theory is pretty much Dr. Frances Cress Welsing's ISIS Papers book. In her first paper she wrote, it's pretty much that. How do you not give any sort of credit to her, Dr. Neely Fuller Jr., for CRT? Maybe because it's not CRT. Maybe they say, let's read that stuff and let's create a watered down version and call it something else. That way we don't have to give credit. Ain't that some shit? We read the introduction together. How can the scholar convey racism is a concern that affects all members of society? What does she say? White supremacy affects all members, all facets of society, sex, law, entertainment, media, all that stuff. What does she say? How does racism continue to function and persist in the force in American society? Her book went into that. How can we combat racism to ensure all the members of society experience equal representation? It goes into that. Dr. Neely Fuller goes into that. How can we accurately reflect the experience of victims and racism? It goes into that. That's why I look at this with the side eye. I can't help it. See, I'm telling you, not a lot of people read her book. If they read her book, instantly in their brain, hold on, this seems a lot like, and they would have been able to pull up literally the introduction to one of the best books I've ever read. People got to read. Reading is fundamental. And I've seen a whole bunch of videos about people hating on critical race theory, people saying they're for critical race theory, but they have no idea what critical race theory is or what it even offshoots from. And that's why you can't just go off of what people say. You got to do your own research. Facts. Okay. As we see it, adopting a CRT approach to literature or other modes of cultural expression includes much more than simply identifying race, racism, racialized characters in fictional works, rather it be broadly emphasized in importance in examining. Quick side note, I'm going to redo my black, is there a war on black masculinity? Or is there a genocide on black male masculinity? I'm going to redo that. I thought it was really good, but I feel like I'm going to get some better recording equipment. I'm going to redo that with some more up-to-date examples and use some of my old. I'm going to make it a lot more concise because it was a big video. But I'm going to redo that because it's still relevant today. Most CRT scholarship attempts to demonstrate not only how racism continues to be a pervasive component through the dominant society, but also why this persistent racism problematically denies individuals many of the constitutional freedoms they are otherwise promised in the United States governing documents. That's good. That's good. This enables scholars to locate how texts develop in and through cultural contexts that produce them, further demonstrating how pervasive systematic racism truly is. Facts. Yeah, it does need to be. And see, that's why they're scared for CRT. They're scared of CRT because if you do even a halfway competent job of analyzing this stuff, you'll see a couple different things. You're going to see how to dismantle white supremacy, but everybody's going to be able to see if you do even a quarter of a competent job with this and give proper credit and use the proper sources, you will dismantle white supremacy through education. Now, here's the interesting thing. Scholars like Crenshaw and Williams have shown CRT scholarship can and should be amenable to adopting and adapting theories from related fields like women's studies, feminism, history. Okay, got a problem with that. Got a big problem with that. Feminism, see, this is the bullshit. A lot of people don't know that. This is the bullshit. They could have left history off. Women's studies and feminism, maybe even you can keep women's studies. Feminism Feminism has been a death knell to the black community and its growth. It has been it's been an obstacle, a stumbling block in black male and female relationships and the cohesiveness between the men and women in the community. Feminism has no, if feminism is going to be in the study, it should be how feminism fucks shit up. But they're talking about adapting and adopting theories related to fields like feminism. No, we don't need a goddamn thing about feminism added to CRT unless it's about how it fucks shit up. That's that Trojan horse shit. That's that Trojan horse shit. Interestingly, CRT scholarship does not only draw attention to and address the concerns of individuals affected by racism, but all those who perpetuate and seemingly unaffected by racial prejudice. Okay, now we're talking. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. Yeah, you got to look at who perpetuates it and the seemingly unaffected by the racial prejudice, i.e., those that benefit and those that do it. Scholars like W.E.B. Du Bois, Peggy McIntosh, Cheryl Harris, and George Lipsitz discuss white privilege and notion of whiteness through history. Where's Dr. Francis Cress Welsing? Where's Neely Fuller? That's who you need to be talking about. I don't need to see any other names than those people. White privilege, microaggressions, institutionalized racism, social construction. Oh, fuck that shit. Sorry. Getting heated. Trojan horse of feminists. Bruh, I'm telling you. Intersectionality, get that the fuck out of here. There's no place for intersectionality in the black community. Fuck that. Anti-essentialism, these terms refer to notions of one aspect of individual identity does not necessarily determine other categories. Listen, intersectionality is a Trojan horse. People don't understand. If you're black, you're black. Now, and you can use whatever term you want. ADOS, FBA, Negro, Indigenous, American, whatever you want to use. But if you're that, you're that. By saying, I am a feminist, transsexual, non-binary, conservative, liberal, black, female, male. What the fuck? Listen, if you're anything but black, if you're not black first, then you're bullshitting. Let me repeat. If you are not black first, you are bullshitting. If you put anything else over your blackness and the betterment of the community, you're bullshitting. That's why feminism, it's one of the aspects of why feminism is bad. Because feminism is saying, you're a woman before you're a black person, okay? You're a woman. So if anything, you need to fight for women's rights because you're a woman before you're black, okay? No. Feminism has black women have been used as the work mules of feminism for decades and got little to nothing out of it except broken homes, the strong independent moniker, and almost like a group acceptance of single motherhood. That's what feminism has done. It's made it harder for men and women to relate to one another, to love one another, to be with one another. Remember, feminism isn't the fight of black women. It's not. You've adopted the fight of any of these other nationalities, specifically white women, but that's not your fight. Your men were not systematically oppressing you. But your black men certainly weren't doing that. We had our own shit to deal with. Did you get hit a couple times while your man got drunk? Maybe, but that's not systematic oppression. It's effed up, but it's not systematic oppression. We didn't keep you from shit. So for you to treat us like we're some sort of enemy when you know what we both been through history, that's bullshit. It's a scapegoat, it's a con. So fuck that intersectionality bullshit. If you're black, you're black. You should be black first above all else. If you want to be gay, be gay. That's fine. Be gay after handling the black stuff. Because here's the thing, a lot of people don't realize you can be gay and you can be a racist. Just because you take black dick don't mean you're not you can't be a racist, right? That's where intersectionality actually works out. You can be a racist and fuck black people. So and how does one become a racist and fuck black people? Because that person is putting their whiteness, for example, or their Asian or whatever, their nationality before their sexuality, their ethnicity before their sexuality. That's how you get a racist homosexual. So if they do you like that, but you're over here trying to champion intersectionality, you look like Boo Boo the Fool. You got duped. So that's some Trojan horse shit. I already see an issue with that. I don't like that. I don't like that. Let's see here. This is a different breakdown. Adapted lecture, Marxist intellectual, Soviet atrocities. All right, here's the Marxist take, neo-Marxism, critical race theory to destroy America. Anti-capitalist. Okay, so this is like the oh my god, don't rewrite. They're trying to rewrite history. You know what? This has gone on too long. We're gonna have to hit qualified immunity. OnlyFans getting rid of porn and defunding the police in the next one. I've gotten too kind of hyped. I've gotten too hyped. But yeah, critical race theory. Listen, if you wanna get it, read the ISIS papers by Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. I'll teach you everything you need to know. And even then, there's more. Read Dr. Neely Fuller Jr.'s book. We didn't ask for this. We didn't ask for CRT. And that's the thing. Black folks didn't ask for CRT. We didn't ask for Juneteenth to become a holiday, and we didn't ask for these piecemeal. Some cities doing reparations, some not. We asked for very specific things. We want government protections, special class protections, uh, specifically for us. We want reparations specifically for us. It's not too hard to figure out. It's not too complex. If we can get to the moon, we can figure this out. If we can figure out a way, if we can give our power to the IRS, we can figure this out. Okay, it's not too complicated. It's not too hard. None of that. If you benefit from it, pay up. But my people immigrated here in the 60s. We shouldn't have to pay. Are you benefiting from black labor? Stolen black labor? I mean, well, but I mean, we weren't even over here. Fuck all that. Pay up. You're an American citizen now. You don't just take the good, you take the bad. So if you're coming over here, you benefit, you get benefits that black folks can't get, you're paying the debt. Sorry. It is what it is. It is what it is. Doing that is still better than where you've come from. You're still gonna make money. It ain't even a lot of money coming out of your pocket. well, it's gonna have to raise taxes. It's gonna make people upset with. We don't give a fuck. People are gonna look. Listen, black folks don't have to worry about optics anymore. They never should have had to worry about it, but they damn sure don't have to worry about optics now. I don't give a fuck if somebody scoffs at me or looks at me weird because I've gotten recompense from my ancestors. And I've gotten the unnecessary obstacles that they don't have in their way removed out of my way. Yeah, you can tell you what. Uh I ain't worried about you. If I got my land, got my businesses, got wealth for my family for generations, you and I don't even got to speak. But I guarantee you, if you come to my neighborhood, you're gonna buy from me. You ain't gotta like me. And you know what? You don't even gotta respect me as a person, but you're gonna respect that dollar. And if you're in my community, you're gonna pay me. No more of this coming to the black community to siphon off wealth and give nothing in return. Those days are fucking over. So critical race theory could be good, but it's got to be done right. And by done right, you got to give credit to those who are the progenitors of it, and you got to implement the creators and progenitors in it. It's just simple as that. Literally, just tell the fucking truth. Literally, it's like buying organic vegetables and shit. You're gonna make me pay $10. You're gonna make me pay $5 for a bushel of apples that you didn't do shit to, but you're gonna charge. But I can buy genetically modified, pesticide-ridden apples, same amount for $2. So you're gonna make me pay more for you not to fuck me over? Get out of here. Just tell the fucking truth. Um, and yeah, I'm about to hit my boy. We might have to hit the cigar castle or something. I'm lit. I might have to do something. I might have to hit up duty right now. I might have to bust some heads for real. But this has been Real Talk, Real People. Sorry, I went on a tangent. Um, there's a lot of passion that's been boiling up inside me. But yeah, the ISIS Papers, great book, great book. Let me do y'all a favor. Hold on. If you really wanna, you really want, uh, if you really want to support and get a good understanding of the psychology of white supremacists or white folks, just in general, and the societal structure, go to AfricanBookstore.net. It's an African American owned online bookstore, and you will be able to. Let me go ahead and pull. You're going to be able to purchase the ISIS Papers. Highly suggested. Highly suggested. Great book. Excellent book. And yeah, don't forget to check the links below. Oh, that's funny. Facebook didn't want to post that link. That's real funny. That's real funny. All right. Peace, y'all. As always, keep it real. Real talk, real people. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, share. Oh, and don't forget, Amazing Lucas stream is, I think, tonight. Video calls. That's about to be lit. Check him out.